Hello guys, Vikram here. So today we are going to have a very great interactive session. We have DEEPAK today with us. He is a senior aspirant, given 4 times the attempt and 2 times went to the mains. This is the first time he's going to the interview, and I think you guys can learn a lot of things and tips and tricks from DEEPAK directly. And DEEPAK is from Hyderabad. He has studied in Hyderabad. He didn't go to Delhi or anywhere else. He's been here, did everything from here itself. So DEEPAK, can you hear me? Are you there?
I am there, sir.
Yeah. Can you on your camera?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I'm handing over it to you. You can continue. And if anyone has any doubts, please put it in the chat. And DEEPAK, if you want to interact with the students, they can come live. If you ask them, they'll come live.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So good evening, guys. My name is DEEPAK, and recently I have given my interview. So today I want this session to be very interactive, and actually I wanted to talk on a topic if you are interested, and after that I would like to share my interview experience, and later I would do some prelims tips which have helped me in clearing the exam. So like, are you fine with the format? Like I will discuss about a topic, then share my interview experience, and then talk about the prelims preparation. If you have any doubts, you can share the information on the chat section. I will see it. Okay, so guys, today I want to talk on a topic called as reservation. So most of the people, this is the burning topic which has happened recently, and recently there was a Supreme Court judgment on it as well. Like only based on the economic criteria, the reservation can't be given. So today we will discuss about the reservation and how this can be helpful in prelims as well. So what is reservation? So if we take the reservation as a concept, it is a positive affirmation given by the government to the people who are underprivileged. This underprivileged can be socially underprivileged, economically underprivileged, educationally underprivileged, or politically underprivileged as well. So that's how the reservation came in. So many people might have doubt like, do we really need these reservations? And like many people from the many sections feel that it is kind of injustice being done to them as well by giving reservations to the certain sections. So we will discuss about the background of reservation. So when the India got the independence, so there were many sections of people. Few people were already educated, few people were not educated, and there was caste system, and there was kind of social discriminations towards the many sections. So if we see as this as a concept, when you are providing the opportunities to the people who are already privileged, like who are already educated or who are already economically well, they will grab the opportunities very quickly compared to the people who are already underprivileged. So that's how the reservation concept came in. For example, if you might have studied in polity the concept called as justice, there is equality and there is justice. So equality is like providing equal opportunity to the every person. But but by providing the equal opportunity, can every people get the equal benefit? No, it doesn't happen, because if you are providing an equal opportunity, the people who are privileged will grab those opportunities easily compared to the underprivileged. So what is justice? The concept of justice is the basis for the reservation which is given in the India presently. So justice is providing an equal opportunity to the every person, so that at certain point of time they can grab the opportunities equally. Like you are creating a platform where every section of the people can grab the opportunity equally. That's how the reservation came in. So you might have a doubt like, does it violate the right to equality of Article 14 of the Constitution? So here you need to understand a thing, like Article 14 of the Constitution has two parts. One is equality before law, and the other part is equal protection of law. So in this concept of equal protection of law, it clearly states that the people who are in similar conditions should be treated similarly. So the people who are underprivileged, they will be given the concept of reservation so that they can compete with the people who are already privileged. That's how the reservation came in. So in prelims, if they have asked the concept of like, how does the reservation as a legal backing, you can say that the equal protection of law concept gives the legal backing to the reservation. And that's how the Article 15 clause 4, 15 clause 5, at the same time 16 clause 4, 16 clause 5, and recently they have also given reservation to the EWS category, which added the 15 clause 5 and 16 clause 6. So that's how the reservation came. So So till now we have discussed the what is reservation, why reservation, and what is the legal backing for reservation. But if we take the reservation as a concept, even after 70 years, and it's almost 70 years, why the people are not coming out of those poverty or the social backwardness, and why only few people are coming out? So does we need this reservation in the long run as well? So if we take this concept clearly, the issues with the reservation is it is not properly channelized. There are no facts about it. For example, if we see the category of SCs and SCs, only 5% of the people from this population are grabbing the opportunity and cornering the reservation benefits. So, and these people are moving upward, and the other 95% of the people are being underprivileged and working in the menial jobs. That's the reason why reservation is not showing that kind of impact which it needs to show. Also, if we take many OBCs as well, the only few communities are grabbing the many of the opportunities. That's the reason why there is a committee called as Rohini Committee, which was made for the subcategorization of the reserve, for subcategorization of various classes, so that the people who are more underprivileged can be get more reservations, so that at certain point of time, at least some 40 to 50% of the population can equally compete with the people. So what can be done? Like what can be the solution for this present reservation system? Like what kind of reforms need to be taken? So I had few thoughts. I'm just sharing with them, and if you have that kind of understanding, even you can use this. For example, the thing which we can do is subcategorization. For example, if we take in my particular state, for example, in Telangana, there is a concept of subcategorization. They have subcategorized their BCs into BCA, BCB, BCC, BCD, and BCE with respect to the state category. So what exactly happens here? I mean, the people who are under the BCA are more underprivileged compared to the BCB or BCC or BCD. That's the reason why the concept of reservation is more provided to the BCA. So the people who are actually deserving will get more reservation opportunities. And also a concept called as quota within the quota concept also can be brought in. For example, if we take for example, presently 22.5% of the reservation is for SCs and STs, right? So even within this, we can make a concept called as like 15%. We can only fix the 15% reservation for the people who are the first time grabbers, so that the other 7.5% will be used by the people who are already used the reservation benefit, and the 15% will be used by the new people, so that this the cornering of the benefits can be reduced. So these are my thoughts. And also a concept called as rational category can be brought in. We can't say that only caste is the basis for underprivileged nature or social backwardness. We need to bring in a concept called as rational parameter, which includes the political backwardness, economic backwardness, social backwardness, even the gender backwardness, because women are not properly represented in any institution. They are very underrepresented. For example, even in political organizations, they are represented like menial 10%, or in police there are only 5% of the women, right? So all these categories needs to be brought in, and based on that, reservation needs to be oriented and changed, so that in the long run the concept of reservation can be completely taken out within the India. So this is my topic of the reservation, and if you have any doubts on this topic, you can ask me right now. Any doubts on this topic? Even in prelims, like if they have asked about the reservation, you can talk about, like even in DPSP there is article 46 which says that there needs to be a promotion by the state for socially and educationally backward people as well. So that's how this topic can be useful in prelims as well. And in mains, you can write a better answer and better solutions. You can frame the issues and you can write the proper answer regarding this if the reservation topic comes in. And you can be rational as well. And even in interview, they try to test your knowledge based on this topic, like whether you are biased towards something, or whether you are being answering the things on rational parameters. So if you have any doubts on this topic, you can ask me. So no doubts. Okay, definitely, Jaydev. I will clarify it. So when in the Indira Shawni case in 1992, when the reservation Actually, in 1991, the 60% reservation was given, and 10% was also given for the economically backwardness. And in Indra Shawni case, it was struck down. The 10% reservation for economic backwardness was struck down, and even the 27% which was given for the OBCs, the Supreme Court said that the people who are already privileged, they should not be getting the reservation benefits, because they will be cornering the benefits, and the real people who need to get the reservation won't get it. So that's how the concept of cream layer came in from the Indra Shawni case of 1992. And according to this case, they have brought in a particular parameters, like for example, the income should not exceed 8 lakhs. At the same time, for example, if you have if your parents working government employment, the parents of the government employees, your parents, either if one of your parent is group A cadre, your reservation will you will not get the reservation, or else if both the parents belong to the group B cadre, you will lose the reservation. So these kind of parameters were brought in, and recently the Supreme Court has said the same thing. So the Haryana government has given the reservation only based on the economic criteria of 6 lakhs category, and Supreme Court has struck it down, because Supreme Court said that you can't base the reservation only on economic category. There are so many parameters. For example, even based on the land owning capacity, the reservation will of the OBC candidate can lose. For example, if you are holding the agricultural land, there is a ceiling limit for agricultural land in every area. So in some areas it is 70% of the ceiling limit, and in some areas it is 40% of the ceiling limit. If your parents are holding more than that, you will lose the reservation, and you come under the category of creamy layer. So there are many like even if your parents are doctors and engineers, so there is a particular criteria, and it includes the economic criteria, educational criteria, as well as social criteria as well. That's how the concept of creamy layer came in, and every year they are revising the income. Initially it was 1 lakh, then later it became 3 lakhs, then it became 6 lakhs, and presently it is at 8 lakhs. And also they are bringing a concept called as they want to increase it to 12 lakhs. So the issue with the bringing the income level to 12 lakhs is almost 90%, 95% of the people from the India will be eligible for the reservation. Then most of the people will be under on non-creamy layer. So this is the concept of creamy layer and non-creamy layer. Okay, just give me a minute, I am reading the comments. So Kaumidi, it can't be filled. The reserved seats can't be filled by the general category people at any point of time. The general category people can only be filled in the general 50% of the limit which was given for them. And if there are any seats remained, they will be carrying as backlog, and also they will be calling the people who are in the waiting list. So in any point of time, the reserved seats will not be filled by the general category people. They used to be only filled in that particular 50% open category, and presently it is only 40%, because 10% again went for the EWS category, so it can't be filled. Jaydev, the term income includes many things. For example, if your parents are the government employees, the government employees salary will not be included. Only if your parents are the private employees, then salary will be included. At the same time, the income includes the income which you have earned from properties. For example, if your parents own some buildings, and the rents which you get through them as well is also included in income. Or else if you are employing someone and you are getting a profit out of it, or else if you are maintaining the stocks and you are getting the profit out of it, the total, it all includes the income, and it should not exceed the 8 lakhs. So like even if you are a entrepreneur and you are earning through some properties, then also the reservation, if your parents are earning through some properties, then also reservation will go. So it is a broad term, it's not only salary, it includes the income which you are earning from owning properties or any shares, anything. Like, do you have any more doubts regarding the reservation? Okay, thank you. So I would like to presently I would like to share my interview experience. So guys, just give me a minute. So on okay, give me a minute. There is some question from Ramanarayan Jain. Okay. Yeah, okay. Give me a I understood your question. Like, I didn't get that point of SC is mostly bothered about OBC reservation, because SC should not be bothered about the OBC reservation, because the OBC will be only filled by the OBC category people. And regarding the second line of the question, yeah, I'm telling the same thing, right? What exactly is happening is, presently the population has 16% of the SC population and another 8% of the tribal population. So it is almost 25% of the population. And in this 25% population, if we consider them as 100 people, only 5 people are cornering the reservation, because the concept of creamy layer is not present in. Okay, I got it. Okay. So I will explain this topic. So what exactly happened is, if you consider the OBCs and the scheduled castes, there is a large difference between them. The concept of reservation is given for the scheduled castes is because of the kind of untouchability which was faced by them. It is the historical injustice. But the BCs, if you consider the BCs, they are a part of Shudras. They are placed in the socially and educationally backward classes, but they are not. They have not faced the untouchability which they have faced, which the SCs have faced. So SCs are completely. They are not part of the Varna system. They are considered as outcasts. So that's the reason why the concept of creamy layer doesn't come in SC category. Because, for example, I will just give an example. For example, uh, consider a Brahmin. Brahmin, though his income is very low, the Brahmin will be respected everywhere. Whenever you see a Brahmin, you always respect him. You try to take blessings from him, right? So that he is an open category person and he belongs to the top layer Brahmins. But if you consider some SC category person who might be earning any amount of money, and if you go to the some village level areas where the caste system is still prevailing, they don't even allow that person to come in. It still persists within the rural India, deep within the rural India, not everywhere. In cities it has changed, but with respect to the rural areas, it didn't change. They still are considered as socially backward, and that kind of discrimination is still faced. In Kerala, there are few instances happened, and even in Himachal Pradesh, there is a place where they are not allowed to own a land as well. So, with respect to the OBC category, they face discrimination, but they are accepted by the society, because the discrimination faced by OBCs is only is less compared to the SCs. SCs are completely outcasts. They are the one who have faced the concept of untouchability. If you consider historically, the people who lived on the outskirts of the villages, they were SCs. The people belonging to the OBC category used to live within the village, and they used to work under the person who is holding, who is the topmost category, who belongs to the topmost caste. But they were allowed. But the people from the SCs were never allowed. That's the reason why they always say that the concept of uh, criminal doesn't come in SC category, because it is not the economic criteria on the basis of which the SC category reservation is given. The criteria for giving the reservation for SCs is because of the social discrimination and the untouchability which they have faced. Only when we can prove that their economic improvement has led also to the decrease in social discrimination, then only the concept of creamy layer can be brought in the SC. That's the reason why the SCs and SCs doesn't have the concept of creamy layer at all. Only the OBCs have the concept of creamy layer, because OBCs doesn't face the untouchability. Though the discrimination is definitely faced, once the OBCs start earning, they are definitely respected in the society. But the SCs definitely face the more kind of discrimination. That's the reason why there are many cases within the Supreme Court as well, where they said that even the concept of cream layer should be brought in SC. But SC said that the SCs get Supreme Court said that they get the reservation because of their social discrimination, and the economic discrimination doesn't mean they have socially improved. They might be facing the same kind of discrimination. That's the reason why the SC is more bothered about the OBC reservation, and it doesn't bring the concept of creamy layer in SC's reservation. Okay, just give me a minute. I'm reading your comment. Yeah, okay. So Sangram, actually we don't know the concept of on various so many parameters the OBC reservation can go. It's not only based on the concept of reservation given by the Haryana government is the state based reservation. So Haryana government is well within their right to fix the income limit. But with respect to the central reservation, we are saying that it is 8 lakhs per annum, right? That is only one of the criteria. I already mentioned, right? Even if you, it's not only based on economic criteria. There are many criteria on the basis of which the reservation is given. For example, I already told, right? If you are holding a land, 40% of the land, even then the OBC person will lose reservation, even if he is not earning the income of 8 lakhs. If he is holding a certain percent of agricultural land, he will lose the reservation. At the same time, for example, their parents, if they are holding the group A cadre or group B, if both the parents are holding the group B cadre, even if they are not earning the reservation of 8 lakhs per annum, they will lose the reservation. 8 lakhs is not only the criteria for OBC people losing the reservation. Many people don't know this category, but once if you come into the civil services, if you are claiming a reservation, all these things need to be mentioned about everything about your parents, and there will be background verification as well. It is not only the economic criteria, there are many other criteria for deciding the OBCs as well. So is it clear? If you have any more doubts, you can ask me. So right, it is done, right? If you have any more doubts, you can ask me. I'm waiting, or else I will continue with my interview experience. Okay, so I'm moving on to my interview experience. So on the day of interview, like I was really tensed. So when I was moving into the board, I thought like, can I perform? Can I talk within the interview? What kind of questions they might be asking in? So, but if you might have seen many interviews within the YouTube, right? There might be many tough questions. They might be asking. They might be stressing. Most of the things doesn't happen in real interview. The many of the boards are very cordial. They will ask you something. If you are answering, it's okay. If you don't know it, you can directly say that I don't know. Or if you are not answering properly, or if you are missing something, they will add to that. Like they will try to help. For example, in my interview, they asked me about what are the institutions which are protecting the human rights in India. So I could think of National Human Rights Commission. I mentioned National Human Rights Commission. So I thought it was they are asking about the statutory bodies. So I was thinking. Then one of the sirs said that don't you think the Parliament also play a role, government also play a role, media also play a role, NGOs also play a role. So they are helping me. They are helping me in answering the question. Then I added that yes, sir, definitely they are playing a major role in safeguarding the human rights. So this is how the interview happens. They are very cordial. So when I entered the interview board, my board was Chaube sir. He was very cordial. He was really awesome. So my first question started like is climate change is a myth? Will you agree or disagree? Then I said that sir, I will like to disagree with you. Then asked me like why will you disagree with this kind of concept? So I explained few things like, sir, we have so many extreme events which are happening on IPCC report, etc. Then there was a counter question on it. Then there was another counter question. So it happened like almost 7 to 8 counter questions. I got 7 to 8 counter questions and I answered them. From there, it moved to different people, right? So I would like to mention about few questions they have asked particularly and how they will be testing you. So one of the person asked me, uh, like if you are an administrator, which one would you like to protect? For example, would you first protect the land boundaries of India or the water boundaries of India? I mentioned that it is land boundaries because in these questions you can't make a mistake, because if you say that you want to protect the water boundaries first. For example, if you take an example, India is presently dominating within the Indian Ocean region. Indian Ocean region is mainly controlled by India, except few Chinese presence, right? But even in this situation, whenever the China comes and try to get into the India, we have that kind of instability within the India. So how will you go with it? First, you have to always stable the land boundaries. When the land boundaries are always stable, you can venture into the seas and occupy the seas, or maintain your hold on the seas, right? This was one of the question where they tried to test like what kind of option will I will take. The second aspect was they asked me about the Naxalism and Telangana model of Naxalism. I explained them. So then they answered. Then they questioned me that don't you think when the police are trying to counter the Naxals, there is human rights violations? I said, yes, sir, definitely there are human rights violations. Then they asked me a counter question like, like, can the human rights be violated? Then, like, don't you think we have to protect the human rights? Then my answer was, sir, the security of the state comes first. Like, if you don't provide the security to the state, then there is no point of human rights, because if you are not providing the security, then there is a scope of so many human right violations happening within the many people as well. So I told security comes first. Then I said that the security forces can't segregate between the person who are trapped between them and who are actual Naxals. That's the reason why when you are trying to protect the state, there are definitely some kind of human right violations will happen. So we need to make sure that we have to communicate with them so that they surrender, and then we have to rehabilitate them, because many of the tribal people get trapped within this Naxalism because they are underprivileged, economically underprivileged, and because of ideology they try to spread, because of their economic conditions they get into Naxalism. And we need to ensure that we have to communicate with them, provide them the employment opportunities, and rehabilitate them when they surrender. That's how the problem can be solved, right? So then there was another question, like, I worked in pharma for 1 year. So he asked me, like, presently india is uh, India is asking for waivers of COVID-19 vaccines, right? Don't you do you agree with this concept? So I said that definitely we need waivers at this present point of time, because COVID is an emergency. If we don't get the waivers at this point of time, we can't protect the health of the people and lives of the people, and they are the future generations. Then he has asked me another counter question, like, do you have to get the waivers for all the situations? Then I mentioned that, sir, what we can do is, we need only in life saving drugs as well as emergency situations we can get waivers, because even the innovator company spends so much amount of money as well as time for getting the vaccine. So definitely they are entitled to get profits, right? So this is the kind of mindset and rational opinion you need to make in. If you say that always we need to give waivers, then you are trying to go against the rights of private institutions which are investing so much of money. And also you are trying, with this decision you are also trying to make that presently it's emergency situations, sometimes you have to take waivers as well. So that's the another question which I got in. So this kind of typical questions you have to make the right judgment. If they're asking any kind of factual questions, it doesn't matter if you don't answer them. But in this kind of case study questions, you need to make sure that you should write answer properly and in a rational manner. They will check your knowledge in these parameters. And also they have asked me another question about why the tribal rights and land rights are being violated. So I simply told them that, sir, the basic issue is there is a concept of community landholding within the tribals, and they don't have the personal landholding records. So even if we consider the Forest Rights Act of 2006, it requires some kind of proof that they are living there for years. So because of lack of the personal land records, the rights are being violated and they are being evicted from this place. So what can we do? So we can go there, do field study, understand them, understand the land boundaries of them, and we need to demarcate them and digitalize the land records, so that even in future if someone tries to violate their tribal rights, it can't be done, because their tribal rights are being protected, right? Because they are already digitalized. You can't go against the law and create some kind of fake things if they have land records. These are the few typical things which I have faced, and few kind of case study questions which I have faced. And another aspects are like, why Hyderabad is more developed. Do you think that Telangana has developed after bifurcation? How the rural development is done in Telangana? Can you please answer few things? So these are the other kind of questions, and these are the kind of questions. And my interview experience was really good. I felt happy after my interview performance. Initially, definitely, I was really stressed, and later I tried to calm myself and answer in a proper manner. So, like, this is my interview experience. And coming to the prelim strategy, first, I will explain my strategy of prelims, and after that, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay? Is it fine? Like, I will explain my strategy, and later you can ask your questions. Okay. So in my first attempt, actually, this is my fourth attempt, and my first attempt was I don't even know anything. Like after college, I went and written one attempt, and after that, I have joined the job. So my first attempt was nothing. In my second attempt, I was in coaching. I was doing my coaching. So my thought process was, for clearing the prelims, I used to read so much of current affairs. I have followed almost 4 to 5 magazines of current affairs. I have followed Insights. I have followed Vision. I have followed almost Forum IAS. But the thing is, the concept of in prelims, the knowledge doesn't matter. Believe me, in prelims, the knowledge doesn't matter. You might be reading 4 to 5 magazines. It doesn't matter. And believe me, most of the questions won't even come from those magazines. The major thing is, you need to strengthen your static portion. For example, in my first attempt, I have read only current affairs, and I didn't strengthen my static portion. So because of which I couldn't clear my prelims. So in my second attempt, I have made a plan. For example, I have seen like cost benefit analysis and what kind of things I have to read. For clearing the prelims, one of the two major subjects is, one is polity, the other one is economy. If you are strong in polity, you will be scoring some. You can easily score 15 questions, almost 30 marks. And if you are strong in economy, you can score another 15 questions. So you can almost score 30 to 35 questions with polity and economy as well. So initially, don't go after current affairs. First, strengthen your static portion. Read polity Lakshmikant, then write few exams and try to understand the concept of polity. And polity is something which can be a game changer. Believe me, like if you are strong in polity, clearing the prelims will be very easy. If you are weak in polity, you will be out of the equation. Believe me, you will be out of the equation. So what kind of paper they might set, it might be tough anything, but you will be definitely, if you are strong in polity and economy static portion, you will be definitely scoring 30 to 35 questions. So later, after finishing these two subjects properly, then do environment. In environment, you need not read everything. For example, there will be a 12th class NCRT, and there will be few chapters. I am unable to recall the chapter numbers. There are 4 chapters: 13, 14, 15, 16. I guess I'm not sure. This is base. On this base, there will be Shankar IAS. Don't read Shankar IAS completely. Make priorities. For example, there will be a lesson on international institutions, Kyoto Protocol, Montreal Protocol, Kigali Protocol. You have to definitely read it. And there will be another section called as there will be biodiversity chapter. You have to read it. There are few you can prioritize, and based on that, you have to read the Shankar IAS environment. And don't focus completely on Shankar IAS, because you won't go. At max you can get some 3 to 4 questions from it. They will be asking more from the current affairs in the environment section. So prioritize your chapters. Don't read everything. You can skip almost half of the book, and you can read only half of you can read other half. After this, make sure that you definitely read modern history. You will, if you are getting some 20 questions from history, you will almost get 12 to 13 questions from modern history. So if you are strong here, you will definitely score these questions. So you have to make sure that, believe me, read spectrum properly. Spectrum, you will get so many questions from spectrum. You think that you won't get sometimes the questions are not from spectrum, but believe me, like you will definitely get questions from spectrum. Even they are not direct questions. If you have knowledge of the spectrum, you can eliminate it. You can make the eliminations and you can score from it. So read spectrum properly. And in the spectrum, there will be last sections on civil services reforms, police reforms, as well as foundings, like All India Trade Union was founded by, etc. questions. Those are very important. Last 200 pages of the spectrum is very important. So read it. I have never read medieval history. I've always skipped the medieval history. So it is I believe that even if you read medieval history, your scoring from them is very difficult, because even if you study from medieval history, the questions will be very tough from medieval history that you can't answer them. So you can definitely skip the medieval history. I've never read medieval history. With respect to the ancient, prioritize things. For example, you can read Indus Valley Civilization. Jainism and Buddhism is must. So with respect to reading culture, you have to read from Nitin Singhania. In Singhania, uh, you can read paintings, architecture, Buddhism, Jainism. In Singhania, there are some 30 chapters, I guess. You can prioritize. Only you can read some 7 to 8 chapters, and your culture will be covered, and you can definitely score some marks from them. But don't expect that definitely the questions will come from this. For example, last year there were no questions from Nitin Singhania. The questions were out of it, and before that year there were 5 questions from Nitin Singhania. So you can't be sure that the questions will come from the book. You need to have that concept of guessing. You need to be you need to learn the concept of intelligent guessing in prelims for clearing the prelims. So then for geography I have read only 2 books, NCRT 11, Indian and World. There will be only 2 books. Don't read 12th NCRTs. I never read 12th NCRTs. You can only read 11th NCRTs, which are 2 small books. So if you have covered all these things, your static will be very strong. Once you have done this static, and after reading, if you have completed polity, write one exam on it. For example, and only write basic tests. In vision, there will be basic tests as well as the advanced tests. So you can make sure that you can write only the basic tests, because you need to test your knowledge in it. There will be full length tests and there will be questions from randomly questions from anything, and it doesn't matter. These questions won't even come in the exam. So you need to just strengthen your basic concepts in polity. And when you are strong in the static portion, take one magazine. It can be anything. I have read the Rao's Compass. For 4 topics I have read Rao's Compass, and for the other topics, for like for example culture as well as schemes, I have read the vision. That's it. And even for schemes, you just need to look to the schemes very briefly. You did not focus more on the schemes, because the questions from the schemes are also very reduced. At max you can get 1 or 2 schemes, and if you know basics of the schemes you can answer them. So that's how you prioritize. Either read Vision PT 365 or Within monthly magazines, or else read Rao's. Only read one. If you have more time, make sure, for example, if you are reading from the Vision, then take Rao's Compass, similar to the PT, and see the topics, and the topics which you have already covered, skip those topics from the Rao's, and remain you can read remaining topics. That's how you will be covering the holistically. If you don't have time, only follow one magazine. Because if you consider the last year prelims, you don't even need the current affairs. It was more of a static portion, and if you know the static portion, you can clear the exam. So these are the things which you need to read, right? But believe me, like, all this is all this is definitely okay, and you have knowledge, right? But the prelims is more of a technique. You have to eliminate things. Even if you don't know anything, you can eliminate things. For example, last year there was a question on deer. I don't remember what kind of deer. It is a deer, right? They have asked me. They have asked, this deer is found in which national park or which wildlife sanctuary. I don't know like where that deer is found, right? But I know that the deer is present within the central India. So I have seen the options. I have seen the I have seen a wildlife sanctuary from Madhya Pradesh. I am unable to recall it. I'm unable to recall the wildlife sanctuary of Madhya Pradesh. There is a wildlife sanctuary in Madhya Pradesh, and I went for it. And it is a right answer, because I don't know anything about, like, I don't know like whether it is found in that national park or not. But this was my intelligent guessing. I only know that the deer is found in central India, and I have checked what national parks or wildlife sanctuaries are present in central India, and based on that I have opted for the answer. This kind of intelligent guessing is very important in prelims, because you won't get direct questions in prelims. You need to make sure that you need to make these intelligent guessings. And also I would like to give another tip. If there is some kind of question from technology, it might be 3D printing, drone, artificial intelligence, and if they have asked what in applications of it, and if they have given so many options, most of the times the answer will be all the above. Most of the times the answer will be all the above. It doesn't mean that you will blindly mark the all the above. First you see the options. If you don't know anything about the options, and you need to definitely attempt it, because you have already attempted less number of questions, then you can go for all the above in that situations. So this kind of intelligence guessing is very important. uh, like for example, there is a technology question, and they are asking the applications 3D printing or the drone. It is most of the times all the above, and based on these words you have to try to eliminate. And even within the options you will find the extreme statements. For example, they say that it is every time it is not possible, or else every time it is possible, it is not applicable for anyone. So these are kind of extreme statements or extreme words. That statement is definitely wrong in most of the time, so you can eliminate them. And when you have eliminated this question, either you will get the answer, or either you will be left between the 2 options, and if you know the another statement, you can answer it. So that's how you will clear the prelims, right? And when you have seen the paper, you will understand the toughness of paper, and based on that you can understand what will be the cutoff as well. For example, last time when I have seen the paper, I know that the cutoff will be around 100. So based on that, I have answered the questions. When I have checked the correct answers which I have marked, I only got around 59. But I know that even if I get some 10 questions wrong from it, I will be out of equation. So I need to make that intelligent guessing, right? I made 24 intelligent guessing, and I got 3 or 4 wrong from it, and other 20 were right. This kind of intelligent guessing is very important, and don't blindly mark all. For example, few people attempt 95, 97, 90. It is not required. For example, if the cutoff is only 100, and if you are attempting some good amount of 85, 80 to 85 questions, and you are sure about most of the questions, you need not attempt more questions, because many of my friends who there are people who lost by 0.3 mark, and because of negatives they are out of the they're out of they couldn't write mains. So these kind of things happen, right? So based on that, you plan your prelim strategy, and be strong in static portion is very important. If you are reading so much of current affairs, believe me, the most of the questions won't come from current affairs, and even if they are coming, you won't be knowing most of them. So first be strong in static portion, later on read one magazine, and if you have so much, if you have definitely have time, you can follow another magazine. And practice is very important, and don't write so many tests. Some people say that you need to write 30 tests, 35 tests. I have never written, like I am different. I have written 8 tests one time, and another time I have written only 7 tests. But based on your priorities, you can write 15 tests, 15 to 20 tests. And it is not about marks. Like for example, you might be scoring 50 marks in a paper. It doesn't matter, believe me, it doesn't matter. All you need to do is learn from your mistakes. For example, if you are writing an exam, initially you mark the proper answers which you know, and later if you are stuck between the two options, you make intelligent guessing in practice tests, and you check like what is your accuracy, if you can properly, if you are able to properly guess or not. And based on that, you take the risk in real exam. Don't blindly attempt, because some people get more accurate, some people can guess properly and some people can't guess properly, so it depends on your perspective. So use this test for learning things. Like it, marks doesn't matter. You might be getting 40 marks, 30 marks. Believe me, like I have written an ancient history test, I got some 57 marks. And I have written a full length test just before prelims, like 1 week before prelims, and I only got 75 marks or something. But in final I got 109 marks. So it depends on the present day. Like past marks doesn't matter, and you need to learn from your mistakes. So this is from my side. Like if you have any doubts for prelims preparation, you can definitely ask me. I'm waiting for your queries. Anything on prelims, you can ask me. Okay, give me a time, Sangram. I am looking at your comment. So like I won't make any judgment, Sangram, but I would like to share my experience with you regarding this concept of newspaper reading as well as magazine reading. So when I was in coaching, every day I used to um, read newspaper for almost 3 hours, and I made few notes. And at the end of the day in the prelims, I didn't get any questions, some one question or something. And I used to spend almost 3 hours to 4 hours on newspaper reading. So after that, I have never read newspaper. Only before the interview, because in interview you need to make an opinion based on rational making, and also they will be asking questions like what is the news on the particular day and what exactly is going on. So for these rational parameters, you definitely need newspaper reading. This is my personal opinion, and this is how I did it. Right, I have never read newspaper after my first attempt. I have only focused on these magazines, and I have only read one magazine because you need not load your things with many things. So my suggestion will be follow one magazine, and at the same time follow one news analysis. For example, I use it to follow Rao's DNS, Daily News Simplified. They will explain the newspaper properly and analytically. So it will be very useful for you. And uh, and follow this, and if you find something important, you can note it. Like, and also make sure that you can make only notes of a page a day, not even half a page. You need not bombard with so many things which are not required. You need to only write those things which are very important, because at the end of the day you can't revise it before the exam. There won't be sufficient time for reading all those things. So if you want to read newspaper, make sure that you only read it for 30 minutes or 25 minutes, and only see those articles which are very important and useful for prelims. Because if you are reading the articles in the newspaper, for example, if we had issue with China, right? So almost around 30 to 35 days, there were different articles on in newspaper about the India China issues. So every day you will be reading that, you will be getting different opinions, you will be confused, and you will be wasting so much amount of time there, right? So if you are before interview, only for prelims as well as mains, if you read one magazine about the India China issue, after the entire issue has completed, they will give the pros, cons, what are the issues, etc., right? So it will be very easy for you. Don't So this is my personal suggestion. I am not saying that you don't read newspaper, right? This is my personal suggestion. So like, for example, if there are articles, you can skip those articles. If you are reading the same articles every day, you are just wasting time. Instead, take the topic in particular magazine, read it. You will also getting the background information as well. They will be doing that analysis, they will be doing everything in the UPSC. It is more about the smart work. You might be doing so much of hard work, but if you are not doing it properly, at the end of the day it doesn't matter, right? So my suggestion will be go for one magazine, and don't read and if you are regular, then you can follow one monthly magazine properly, and every day you can see one news analysis. I use it to watch the Rao's Daily News Simplified in YouTube. You can also watch Byju's. And if you want to read newspaper, just allot some 25 minutes on it. That's it. Don't go for hours. Just 20 to 25 minutes and see the important articles. And if you find something very important, then write it in your book, and it should be only half a page, not more than that. So this is my suggestion for Sangram. Okay, Anjana, PS, the same for you. I never made notes on anything, and I have initially I have read newspaper, but believe me, like, I failed in my first attempt. I have given 3 hours for newspaper reading, but it didn't fetch me the cost benefit, right? So make sure that you're strong in static portion first, and you complete all the other portions. And after that, if you definitely have time, definitely read newspaper. Okay, just give me a minute. Yeah, you can definitely ignore editorials, because for prelims you don't need editorials. Only for mains you need editorials. And also these kind of points, if you make note of it, they can be used in mains answers. But if you I already told you, right, Daily News Simplified, if you see the Daily News Simplified, they will already analyze those editorials, and they will also make notes of it. Just you can see this, and you can also make notes directly. You need not read the editorials completely. I have skipped it, and my personal suggestion is you can also skip it, because you need to focus on important things, right? For prelims you need to be very strong in static portion, and for mains you need to complete the ethics portion. There are a few topics called as disaster management, society, and there are many things, and the questions will directly come from these topics. The current affairs questions will be comparatively, it will be 30 to 40%, and there will be 60% of the static portion questions even in mains. So first you need to complete all these things, and later if you have time, you can read the newspaper. And believe me, like, editorials can be definitely skipped, and only during the interview preparation or before the mains, if you want some quality points, you can read newspaper. But for prelims, definitely it is not needed. Okay. Okay, Ramanara and Jena. Okay, wait for a minute. I am reading your comment. So Ramanarayan, I would like to only tell one thing. Uh, the score, the score in the subjects doesn't matter, but believe me, in few subjects you definitely need to score. For example, in polity you definitely need to score. For example, if you are writing a polity test in of vision basic test, you definitely need to get above 120 in polity, because it is a static portion. There will be no current affairs, and all the questions are directly from the Lakshmikant. That's how you improve. At the same time, in economy, you can go for Srirams. I have read Srirams, and most of the topics will be covered from Srirams, right? So in few subjects, definitely score matters, but make sure that you learn this trick. Like, you will learn this thing from your mistakes. You need to practice more. You need to practice more. Then only you can learn. If I say something, I can't tell you in nutshell, because my way of thinking is different from your way of thinking, and my strategy won't work for you. You need to make your own strategy, because at the end of the day you are aiming for becoming an IAS or IPS officer, and you need to make your own decisions. Listen to many strategies, listen to many people. At the end of the day, follow only that thing which is suitable to your personality, which will help you. Because some person will say that write 30 to 35 tests, and some person might be telling that write only 5 tests. But like, what is your level of preparation and how many tests definitely you need to get the better picture, right? So based on that, and believe me, yes, your score doesn't matter, but make sure that you don't get 33 wrongs. Like, you, for example, you need to reduce those wrong markings. Like, for initially, for example, if you have attempted 95 questions and you have got some 30 wrong, you only focus more on those wrong things, like where have you lagged, right? And then go to the topic, revise that topic, and again try to answer it. And over a period of time, make sure that you don't answer more than 20 negatives. For example, in my first prelims, I have attempted only 71 questions, because I was sure of many answers, and I know that if I get some 55 plus right, I will be getting through. So I got 57 right, and I bubbled one question wrong, so it was automatically gone, and it was 13 wrong. I got some around 100 marks, and I cleared that. Recently, I have not attempted 83 questions, because I was not sure of many questions. So it doesn't matter. For example, there is no strategy like you need to answer less questions, you need to answer more questions. It is more based on the paper. For example, if you are sure of many questions, you need not take risk. But if you are not sure of many questions, you can definitely take risk. So strategize this. It's not that I will attempt only 75 questions every time. It's not that I will attempt only 95 questions every time. Based on paper, based on your accuracy, and assuring, if you are sure about the answer, based on that, make the decision. And believe me, with respect to scoring, it doesn't matter, Ram Narayan, and you have almost 28 days, and many people, the people who are already well versed can easily clear within this 28 days. So you can definitely learn so many from these 28 days. But make sure, I already told, right? If you are strong in polity, and if you are strong in economy, and if you are strong in modern history, you will score around 40 to 45 questions, right? So only with respect to polity and economy and modern history, strengthen your concept. For example, if in polity, if you have written a test and if you have got something wrong in a particular question, go and revise that particular topic again and try to answer it again. And previous year questions, you have to take the previous year questions, and by seeing the previous year questions, you will understand the UPSC's pattern. What kind of loopholes will be there in the options. For example, you need not even read the questions for a few questions. You can see the options and you can answer it, right? I have done it. I have seen the questions. I don't know anything about the question. I have never heard of it. I have seen the options and I have marked the right answer, because few of the options will be very extreme. You can directly eliminate them. For example, if someone says that the government want to spend thousand lakh crores, the government don't spend it. 100 lakh crores. 100 lakh crores is half of the budget of GDP of India. It will be more like 5 lakh crores, 1 lakh crore. That's how. Like, you can make this rational decision making. Few options will be very extreme, and try to eliminate them. So this is my suggestion for you, Ram Narayan. Lokesh Kant, definitely you can't expect any questions from sports in prelims. I have never seen any questions from prelims, any questions from sports in prelims. Maybe they might be asking like whether the sports will be in the concurrent list or state list or the union list. This kind of questions might come, but factual questions like who won these medals, those kind of questions definitely doesn't come. Lokesh Kant. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, Abhijit Warade. Okay. So I already told, right, for current affairs section, if some kind of important concept comes in, then it can be asked in UPSC. For example, I couldn't remember the topic. In 3 years back, when the demonetization happened, and when you make a payment through a card, there will be a charge, some 1.1% or 1.5%. That came in that particular year, and the question was asked. So if there are some kind of important aspects which are happening that particular year, that kind of important questions can come. But believe me, like even those questions will be coming from the static portion. It is a current related topic, and with respect to that current related topic, he will be asking the question from static portion. For example, the government has increased the repo rate or reduced the repo rate, CRR, SLR. So this will be definitely in the news, right? They will be asking the static portion of SLR or CRR, like whether if we increase the SLR, whether there will be reducing inflation or there will be deflation or increasing inflation, money supply within the market increases or decreases. So if you are strong within the static portion, you can answer almost all these questions. So my personal suggestion is Sriram's. Read Sriram's economy. It is very good, and even few of the current affairs topics are also covered in it. And make sure that you understand the topic. It's not that you mug up the topic. If you are mugging up something in economy, you won't be scoring marks there. Make sure that you understand economy properly. And there might be few people saying that you need to cover that particular book in 10 days, 7 days, 15 days. Don't go for it. Initially, when I have read my polity Lakshmikant, I have read it for 50 days. For 50 days, I have read only Lakshmikant initially, because I want to be strong in I want to be strong in polity. When you read something properly and when you understand something properly, then definitely the revisions doesn't matter. Like if you are revising them, you can easily understand them, right? I have read Sriram's book for 35 days in my first preparation. When I was giving my third attempt, I have read Sriram's book for 35 days. So after completing all these books, then I had that conceptual clarity, right? After having that conceptual clarity, you can answer any questions easily. And with respect to the economy, I followed the Rao's compass. There will be economy section of a Rao's compass. You can go to once check the Rao's compass. There will be called as e-learn platform of Rao's. Go there, you will find the Rao's magazine of economy. Read it. I have only read it economy from Rao's. And the another benefit thing of Rao's compass is it's not only deals with the current affairs. The Rao's compass has some 120 pages or 130 pages, and initial 20 pages for every topic he will be covering the static portion. It will be more like a revision of static portion, as well as you will be reading the current affairs section, right? So that's the reason why I have chosen the Rao's compass for my third attempt. Initially I have read vision insights, but it only covers the current affairs portion. So this was my strategy. But it doesn't mean that you only read Rao's compass. If you are comfortable with vision, you can read that magazine. Only choose one magazine, and if you have time, you can go for another magazine, and only those topics which were not covered in the earlier magazine. Okay, wait, give me a minute. So Ram Narayan. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay. Okay, so your attempt is for 2022 and I am preparing since 1 year. So I have done few mistakes in my third attempt. Like Actually, it was my second attempt, to be honest. Like if I have prepared, it will be my second attempt. So most of the people, if they don't clear prelims, they will be only focusing more on the prelims. But my personal suggestion will be, if you are clearing the prelims, make sure that you will clear mains as well as interview in one go. Because if you are clearing the prelims, and after prelims, it will take almost 30 to 35 days for a result, right? You will be left with only 50 days. In those 50 days, you can't prepare anything for mains, and you will end up eventually failing mains. That happened in my third attempt. I couldn't score marks in mains because I don't know anything. I haven't completed my optional, I haven't completed my ethics, as well as I couldn't complete paper as well. I left almost 20 to 25 questions in entire GS. So this thing happens. So make sure that in this 1 year preparation, don't only focus on prelims. Take few topics from GS1. In GS1, society covers almost 70 to 80 marks. So take the topic of society and uh, take those important topics and make notes on it. Then try to cover the other topics. In GS3, there will be disaster management, internal security concept, which are exclusively for mains topics. So try to cover these topics more. And also in GS2, there will be a concept called as governance, citizen charter, civil services reform, and all these topics. You need to have the notes on these things, because in governance there are only 10 to 12 topics, and every year you will be getting 4 questions directly from it. So if you are making notes for these 12 topics, you're already scoring 4 questions out of it, right? So make sure that you complete your optional, and if you take some test series, complete half of the test series before prelims as well. And then you finish your ethics, and after that you finish your GS topics, and then you start preparing for prelims, so that when you clear the prelims, it should be a straight go, one go. You can't go to prelims and fail mains again. After failing mains, you don't again get much time to prepare, so you will be locked in this cycle. So make sure that when you are preparing, you got 1 year, right? For 6 months, focus on optional, ethics, and all these mains topics, and also do handwriting practice every day. If you are unable to do the handwriting practice, for example, if you have covered a topic from the GS society, go to some if you search in online, you will get mains papers of any coaching institute, right? They will be having 20 questions. Keep those 20 questions before you. For example, take 10 questions initially from it, and try to write those 10 questions in 1.5 hours, because in 90 minutes you have to complete 10 questions, right? Initially it doesn't happen. You will take 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So if you don't have this habit of handwriting practice, if you don't want to do handwriting practice every day, after finishing the topic, take the question paper from the different section and write those 10 questions at a time, and later check the answers of those things. So we'll understand where you are lacking, if you are not writing the answers properly, what kind of things can be added. So that's how you can do it. If you don't want to do handwriting practice every day, make sure that after completing the paper, after completing that particular topic, take some mains question paper of that particular topic and write 10 to 15 answers on it, and then try to evaluate and change the issues which you have. At the same time, you have to complete the 10 questions in 90 minutes. It doesn't happen. Initially it will be 2 hours, 2.5 hours. When I have written my first test in GS, I have written polity, and I have written 20 questions in 5 hours 10 minutes. It took me 5 hours 10 minutes, but you have to complete the paper in 3 hours. So it happens with practice, right? So you try to practice more and more and more, and with the 10 to 15 tests of mains, you automatically get that speed. You will be able to complete the topic in 3 hours 10 minutes or 3 hours 15 minutes. That's how you plan it, right? Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, Dinesh. Okay. So see, it depends on your choice. I'm not telling you any particular book, but with respect to my personal choice, I have read the Sri Ram's IAS, and I have never read the Nitin Singhani IAS economy. So I can't make any judgment here. It will depend on you. But if you have already purchased Sri Ram's economy, automatically you will understand it. It is in simple language. Believe me, you can read it. If you are not understanding it, uh, take the NCRTs, right? There will be, I'm unable to recall the name of the book. There will be a there will be a simple book on it, and you read that first, and later you can read Sriram's economy. If you are buying 2 or 3 books, it doesn't matter. You are just wasting money, right? My personal choice will be Sriram's economy. But if you are If you want to read the Nitin Singhani IAS economy, definitely you can go for it, because I have never read that book and I can't make any judgment on that particular book. Okay. Okay, give me. Okay. Uh, Anjana PS, like I have never read the Drishti IAS monthly current affairs magazines, so I don't know like whether it will be properly made or not. But my personal suggestion will be you can only follow only one magazine. You don't bombard with few magazines. For example, you read Vision, you read Drishti, then you read Vajiram, then you read Rouse. It is not needed. You can only follow one magazine. And if you want to cover another magazine, just check the topics from the second magazine, and the topics which are not covered in the first magazine, you can read them from the second magazine. So I don't want to make any judgment on Drishti current affairs because I have never read Drishti current affairs magazines. Okay. If you have any more doubts, you can ask me regarding the prelims. Any doubt, like it can be regarding the tests, what kind of tests, your score, what kind of issues, how to make a proper plan or anything. You can ask anything. Okay, Anjana PS. Like if you are not if you are not understanding the standard books, then you can definitely read the NCRTs. But NCRTs are definitely not mandatory. Uh, it doesn't mean that if you are not reading the NCRTs, you won't clear the prelims, right? I have never read NCRTs on any polity. I have directly went for the Lakshmikant. With even with respect to economy, I have read a normal book. It is not an NCRT. For understanding the basics, then I directly went for Sri Rams. And with respect to geography, I have definitely read 11th class NCRTs. There will be Indian NCRT as well as world NCRT. With respect to environment, I have never read NCRTs. So NCRTs, when people say that NCRTs are very important, if you are not understanding the concept directly from the standard books, definitely NCRTs are important. But NCRTs are not mandatory. You can directly go for standard books. So if someone is saying that if you don't read the NCRTs, you won't pass, then definitely it is some kind of myth. You can directly read standard books. There is no issue. And also one more suggestion: don't bombard with many books, right? You can only follow few books. Believe me, like many people go for multiple books, multiple things, and they won't even revise them. Follow only one book for every subject. For Lakshmikant, I followed polity. For polity, I followed Lakshmikant. Then for economy, Sri Rams. Then for geography, two NCRTs of 11th. Then for for environment, I followed Shankar IAS. Then I have read for history, I have read Spectrum. So I always revise only these five books. If I get some new magazine, I don't read it because it is not needed. You don't need to read so many books. You need to read few things, but multiple times, because at that point of time you will become more confident on it. The revision part is very important here. It's not about how many books you read. It's about how many times you read. So only make your books only precisely, like only few books, and only follow one magazine and try to improve the technique. Intelligent guessing concept is very important. If you don't know this, clearing prelims will be very difficult for you. Okay. So work on your techniques, how to eliminate those options. Even if you don't know anything, how to guess the answers based on your knowledge, right? This can be done. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Murli Krishna. I have read that book. I told right. I have read one book for economy. It is very good book. You have to definitely read it if you want to understand things. Shankar Ganesh book is very good. So definitely read it, and later you definitely need to read Srirams as well, because Srirams covers the economy comprehensively. So first, if you want to read Shankar Ganesh, then go for Srirams IAS economy. Okay. Any more questions?
Guys, if you have any questions, it's getting late. Deepak has spent a lot of time with us today.
Uh,
So
Sangram, I have never read Ramesh Singh. I already told you, right? You need not read multiple books. You can read only one book and you can clear the prelims as well as mains as well as interview as well. But only thing is you need that conceptual clarity. So I have never read Ramesh Singh. I have only read Sriram's IAS Economy and Shankar Ganesh book. That's it. So keep things very precise and concise and revise them multiple times. Some might be saying the Ramesh Singh, someone might be saying Nitin Singhania. It doesn't matter. Only one book is very important and you have to revise it again and again. That's it.
I think that's it. Deepak, thanks for being here with us today. And I hope and Vishnu IAS Academy wishes you clear this exam with flying colors, and we are hoping actually, like, we have like few candidates we are very hopeful on. You are one of them. Vishnu sir also told me like how hard you prepared even for the interview. Like
Yes,
it's
sir.
not just the prelims or mains. So even for the interview, how hard you are trying, like prepare for that.
Yes, sir.
So really, it's like really inspiring for the students. I think a lot of students have cleared a lot of doubts. Students will be doing a lot more like this. Be consistent. Do all follow, please. They will tell. If you don't follow, it's not useful. So hope you all guys follow this advice. Deepak, you have been great. Thanks a
Thank you.
lot for being
Thank
here.
you so much, sir. And all the best for all of you candidates because 4 years back even I was in same situation like you. Believe the only thing I would like to tell is be consistent and be persistent. And if you are hardworking, definitely you will clear this exam one or the other time. But make sure that you hold this exam. You don't quit in between, right? And also you need to work hard for it. All the best for you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys for being here. We'll meet you guys again soon. Thank you. Thank you, Deepak. Have a great day.